Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and it's not another deck list today. It's another how to play bit of tutorial, trying to explain some of the more commonly used terms for the players that are returning to the game or just starting the game. I know that when you walk in, we use a lot of slang and just terminology that's just not readily understood right off the rip. So today's topic is going to be floodgates. What are they? Why do we use them? And can we get some examples? Yes to all three. So let's start with what they are. A floodgate is, and again, it was named this because of the term, is going to be an effect, usually a lingering or a continuous effect, almost always. And what it's going to do is it's going to stop or restrict certain things from happening, to stop a flood of effects or cards, or it's going to break a loop. It's going to perform some form of restriction to both players. It's always full field. And again, since it's usually a continuous effect, trap cards tend to be the majority of our floodgates. And one of the ones that I just recently went over during Card of the Week and in our Ninja deck profile here was the Antispell Fragrance. And again, this is going to be a continuous trap. And this one makes it so both players have to set their spell cards before they can activate them, and they cannot activate them the turn that they actually set them. So what this floodgate in effect is going to do is it's going to turn whatever the spell is, like let's say that Armor Ninjutsu Art of Alchemy. It's going to give it trap activation, so you are going to have to set it first, wait a turn, come back to your own turn, and then activate that. The only exception to this rule would be, of course, if you had some quick play spell, at which point then, just like a trap, you could activate it during your opponent's turn, should timing be appropriate. So let's pull some speed duel examples. Like Book of Moon would be great here. Another old school card you guys might be familiar with if you're a returning player would be like Enemy Controller, Mystical Space Typhoon, Twin Twisters, what have you. So again, Antispell Fragrance, kind of cool. And again, when we played the Ninja deck, we actually built off of this to eliminate the spells and the traps entirely from our opponent's portfolio of options by combining it with Dark Simorgh. So again, Floodgates can be exponentially better if, in fact, they are played in some form of combination. Again, they tend to devastate right away, just like this one. But again, they can usually be built around to make it more effective. Another one of my favorites from the past, just because we were able to run it at 3 then, was Skill Drain. This one lets you pay 1,000 life points, and then as long as this card remains face up, all face-up effect monsters on the field have their effects negated. Now, this will not affect monster effects that activate in the hand or in the discard pile or in the banished pile. Only they affect while they're on the field. This is important because some cards will trigger and use cost to start the effect, and cards like that get around this. Now, an old school example of this would be Giant Rat, Mystic Tomato. When they're destroyed by battle and sent to the discard pile as a result of it, use special summon, same attribute, 1,500 or less attack in attack mode. And again, it triggers while it's on the field because that's where it's destroyed by battle, and then it got sent to the graveyard, and then the summon happens. So things like that are not affected by Skill Drain. Sangan, Witch of the Black Forest, still resolved because the effect does activate in the graveyard. And one card that triggers itself on the field would be Exiled Force. And if you guys are playing Speed Duel right now, you guys know Exiled Force. Tribute this card, and again, the tribute is the cost, so we are allowed to pay the cost. Then the effect will activate when it's in the discard pile, allowing Skill Drain to be circumvented in this case. But this was a very good OG continuous trap. Another one of my favorites is Rivalry of the Warlords, and since we're getting ready to go into Spooktober, guys, I have a great combination that everybody already knows, and we'll talk about that more later. And then you really can't talk about this one without talking about Gozen Match because they're basically the same thing. How they read is Rivalry of the Warlords makes it so both players can only control one single type of monster at a time, whether that be Warrior, Spellcaster, Dragon, Psychic, Fiend, whatever you like, whatever the flavor. But if you do have more than one type when this card is activated, you have to choose one and send all the rest to the discard pile. So if you got 3 Warriors and 2 Fiends and you want to play the Fiends, you got to get rid of the 3 Warriors. And then Goes and Match will be the same thing, just slated towards the attributes of the cards. So those are both very cool and very good at limiting, depending on what decks are currently in the meta. Macrocosmos is another one of these like crazy cool ones, and I got out the dual terminal one because I thought that would be nice today. And then when this one resolves, this has a primary effect, and we actually only play this for the secondary effect. The primary effect is when you resolve this, you can special summon a Helios, the Primordial Sun, from hand or deck. We don't care about that for the most part. This is going to stop a lot of things that have to resolve in the graveyard. So back talking to the Mystic Tomato, the Giant Rat, the cards that actually have to resolve by going to the discard pile, Sangan Witch, these can all be tossed out with Macrocosmos. Because the effect, while this is face up on the field, is any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. And this does include your spell traps too. So this was always a very strong card. And obviously this is why it's on the limitation list as well. Royal Decree is another good blanket effect. It's very easy. Just negate all other traps on the field. So this is a very set Jinzo. And again, this was better back in the day. We don't see a whole heck of a lot of traps. If you do see a lot of traps, chances are you're playing up against like Altergeists or something. Something that just benefits from it. Paleo Frog maybe. And that's fine. Royal Decree will still do its job. There are a few spells. I only wanted to pull a few because I didn't want to make this video too long on you guys. And this Dimensional Fissure actually goes along with like the same thing as Macrocosmos. But this time the effect is any monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead. And again, another great reason for running these two in particular. Anytime you play up against anything that's like a Chaos Engine, Thunder Dragons, or anything else that requires monsters to be in the discard pile for some reverse tutoring or summoning, or like Lightsworn trying to get a bunch of different names for JD, which is Judgment Dragon. Just this is a whole lot of hate for them. Some of the decks like Shadal's don't do so well when you're dealing, especially with macro, because they won't be able to reuse their fusion spell. There's just a lot of like intricacy to some of these plays. And then when it's kind of a situational one, I picked it for this reason, was the Secret Village of Spellcasters. Now, yeah, a Floodgate can absolutely be a field spell, and this is one of the better examples. The other one would have been Mystic Mine, but I misplaced it, and I originally thought I wasn't even going to bring it up. Maybe you guys wouldn't notice, but I think that you guys would notice, and you guys would be like, where's Mystic Mine? I don't know. I put it in one of my deck boxes, and I was too lazy to go looking for it, so we went with Secret Village. In this case, it's conditional, so if you control the spellcaster type and your opponent does not, the opponent cannot activate spell cards. They can set them all day, but they can never activate one as long as you're the only player with a spellcaster. However, if you control no spellcasters, you cannot activate spell cards. So you can still set them, but you can't play them. So it is a bit of a double-edged sword, but this is more of like a conditional floodgate. This will allow you to actually build more advantage to yourself and actually rewards a player for playing more themed, even if it's just a loose toolbox themed style of play. And then there's monsters that can do stuff like this too. And I pulled just a couple of these. So the first one would be the Inspector Border, because, oh my gosh, can you see that paragraph, guys? That is insane. And he's going to be card of the week probably sometime in November because of this. Or maybe not, because I talked about him today. I don't know yet. The giant consensus here is we need the second sentence. Neither player can activate monster effects unless the number of monster effects that player has previously activated during the turn is less than the number of monster card types currently on the field, counting up only Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Exeason, Pendulum, and Link. So it can limit them between 1 and 6 effects. If an effect's activation was negated, that would still count towards the total for the turn. And you only count effects that were activated while this was face up on the field. So again, if I end up playing this by a special summon, you know, let's just get real janky here real quick. You Dark Hole the field for some reason because you play Dark Hole because you're a bad player, I guess, instead of just playing Raigeki. If I use Call of the Haunted to bring this guy back, and then another Call of the Haunted to bring back another card, that's when I could start doing the limits. it gets weird. Honestly, he needs his own full in-depth explanation, which is why I will pick him as a card of the week later on. But to get into this is trying to limit your opponent's card effects, but it will also do it to you. So it is something to be aware of. And there are some decks that thrive with this card, and then there are some decks that if you put this out there, it just bricks them. And then the other one, my favorite one, is got to be El Shaddoll Winda. And I know, I could have chose Dark Law or something cool. I really wanted to do Winda because I am going to be doing a Shaddoll deck this next month for Spooktober. So I felt that this was pretty relevant. So this card must first be special summoned, cannot be destroyed by an opponent's card effects. Each player can only special summon monsters once per turn while this card is face up on the field. So if we stop right there, this is a very good summoning floodgate. This stops decks like what Dragon Link would do. They would place their starter, they'd go into Striker Dragon. Generally, if they played like Starleash Seafert, they set themselves up for another play later while being able to go in and just grab their field spell, wait and play the field spell, get another effect there, and start building their board like crazy. This is going to limit to the singular special summon. So not a lot of decks are going to be able to do good during that. But Shaddolls can, because Shaddolls are just crazy cool and tacky, as you guys will see later this month. But this is really, like, this is the why you want to play Floodgates. Floodgates will help you disrupt the rhythm of how your opponent's playing, but you do have to be well aware of how your rhythm is also going to be affected. It is a very big double-edged sword, but it is one that is well worth learning. And almost essential in today's metagame because of how fast players, whether you're casual or competitive, this is something to be well aware of. And again, like I'm always saying with these videos, with the whole how to play series, if this video helps even one player, whether they're just getting reacclimated or if this is just a good refresher course for you or whatever, if it helps one person, it was worth me taking the time to make this video and taking time away from building deck lists. Because again, my whole goal wasn't to be the best deck builder, but to try to be there for all the casual players and try to bring the level of play up within the community of gaming. So again, just real quick, I know that was a lot. I know I'm getting a little monotone. If you guys enjoyed this, you could do the things. If you'd like to support the channel, you can feel free to subscribe to the channel. There's a button somewhere. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's right there. You guys can go ahead and hit that if you haven't already, but only if you like the content. Let your friends know about the channel. And the most important favor that you guys could do for me all day is go out there and try to have a good day, my friends. Go do something that you enjoy. Go get yourself your favorite drink. Watch your favorite show. Watch some more of my videos. I don't know. That's shameless. I should have said that. But maybe if you're into it. But probably not. Unless, maybe you do. Either way, guys. I'll see you guys on the next video. You guys have a great one. I'll see you later. Bye.